We're now learning that federal agents executed a search warrant and seized Congressman Matt Gaetz's cell phone in the winter, last winter. And this is part of their investigation into possible sex trafficking of a minor. So I want to reiterate that even at this point, there have not been charges filed against Matt Gaetz, but we are learning more and more about how this investigation unfolded and just how serious it appears to be. I don't know where this is going to end, but I can tell you what we know so far. For instance, around that time when agents had seized his phone, they also decided to seize his former girlfriend's phone before she went into work in the morning. She declined to talk to Politico about this. The investigation also centers on a trip that Matt Gaetz took to the Bahamas in 2018. And it appears that that was quite a trip with private jets full of women that were possibly hired through websites like Seeking Arrangement. In the Bahamas, Gaetz was joined by two GOP allies, Halsey Beshears, then a state legislator, and Jason Pirozzolo, a hand surgeon and Republican fundraiser for Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida. And that's according to 3 sources, including one who was part of the group that actually went to the Bahamas to party. Now, because of this ongoing investigation, it appears that Beshears specifically decided to kind of step down from politics. At the time, coronavirus was cited for the reason. Now it seems like there might be a different reason. And among those on the trip, the former minor who is the key to the investigation, we're talking about the woman who was a minor at the time, allegedly, whose presence on the trip was previously unreported. Now, according to one of the women in the group who spoke on condition of anonymity, everyone on the trip was over the age of 18, including the woman in question who had turned 18 months before the trip, she said. So there are some women who are familiar with those events who are partially defending Matt Gaetz by saying that, the woman was there, but she was already 18 at the time. The woman's testimony would obviously be crucial in this investigation, but so far it's unclear whether or not she's cooperating. And previously, through the messages that Matt Gaetz and Joel Greenberg were sending each other, it appeared that she was unwilling to cooperate and they were kind of celebrating that. But for now, there are 2 possible issues for Matt Gaetz. Number one, did he pay for the travel of a minor so he can have sex with her? That's a federal crime. And also, did he engage in paying for sex and paying for the travel for the individuals he had sex with? Those are also federal crimes. It's known as the Mann Act, and if you violated that, he could face some serious prosecution for it.
Yeah, and he certainly seems like he's aware of some of these things. I mean, he's taken positions far outside of the norm of his party on things like revenge porn and like sex trafficking. It seems like a thing that has been on his mind. The Bahamas trip seems like potentially problematic to him. It might not even be the most important part. I mean, multiple different sources now, CNN and the Daily Beast, have looked at receipts for payments that have gone out to multiple people. It's still possible that all of this has nothing to do with prostitution, but it seems increasingly difficult to imagine how all of these incredibly suspicious payments don't have any sort of sinister, explanation.
Well, let me give you.
But by the way, even if it doesn't involve underage people, at the end of the day, perhaps it doesn't. Just suspiciously close to 18 years old, but it still seems incredibly likely that there was, at the very least, prostitution.
So to your point about suspicious payments, in 2018, Gaetz sent $900 to Greenberg, who by the way is facing several charges for stalking and sex trafficking, who then sent 3 young women various sums of cash that amounted in total to $900 via the Venmo app. It's kind of amazing that they didn't make any of this private, but criminals tend to be dumb. That money was described as being for tuition and school, which, by the way, if it's proven to be used for sex trafficking or anything shady, it just makes it even more disgusting that they listed it as tuition and school.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider that student loans and student loan debt, paying for college is so astronomical that women do resort to sex work in order to be able to pay their tuition. So like, it's just, the whole thing is pretty gross.
Yeah, maybe it's just honest. Maybe that is what they think the money's gonna go towards, or maybe they think it's a joke. Maybe they think it's kind of funny that the system has been set up that it's so difficult to pay for education that people might enter into sex work specifically to defray the costs.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.